Can the Maple Leafs close things out against Ottawa with a Game 5 win? Hey everyone, welcome into Off the Post. Rob Wong, joined alongside as always by Steve Simmons and Bruce Garrioch. And guys, the Maple Leafs and Senators getting ready for a Game 5 in the Battle of Ontario on Tuesday night. And Steve, at this point, a lot of Maple Leafs fans maybe feeling a little bit concerned, maybe not full out panic, but of course we have seen in years past that this Maple Leafs team has struggled in series-clinching games. The stat 1-13 dating back the last 20 seasons. The current era of this Leafs team has factored into pretty much all of that. Is it just one loss and the Leafs are still in an incredibly good spot, or could things maybe take a turn for the worse here if they lose on Tuesday night?
I wouldn't say a turn for the worse, but I would say that the skates are going to get a little tight and the collars are going to get a little tight and the sticks are going to be gripped a little harder. And there's a lot of reason based on history to worry about the Maple Leafs. Worry when you're in a position, which they haven't been in all that often, to win series. They've never had a 2-game lead before this series, and they never had a 3-game lead before this series. So these are new things for the Leafs. Now it's a question of closing it out. And history says, no, it's going to be trouble. But if you look at the first 4 games in the series, I think all 4 games were almost winnable for both teams.
Yeah.
And so you're not talking about a deep margin between the two. And so I think that plays into the Leafs, hopes, if you want to call it that, a little better. Because I think no matter what, it's going to be 3-2 in the third period probably for somebody. And then we'll figure it out from there.
I look at it, Steve, like this. As much as, I sit here in a city where, uh, you know, people hope that the Senators can pull off one of the great comebacks in National Hockey League history and only the 5th team in history to come back. And they've got Claude Giroux, who was on the 2010 Flyers when they turned the tables on the Boston Bruins and went on to the Eastern Conference Final. I think this is a much better Leafs team. They were a shot away on Saturday night. Ottawa couldn't hold a lead in that game, and quite frankly, was outplayed and won because of their goaltender and because Tyler Clevin knocked Morgan Riley off the puck in overtime. Tomorrow night, the Senators could plant a seed of doubt, but I still have no doubt in my mind that this series is, for all intents and purposes, going to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Whether it goes tomorrow night, Thursday night, or Saturday, back in your great barn.
What's impressed me about the Leafs in this series, and really about Craig Berube's team most of this season, is they come at you and take things away. I think there's 4 periods in this series, in 4 games, where the Senators have 4 shots on goal or fewer.
They block shots like crazy, Steve.
They A, block shots, they take away shooting lanes, and they take care of the house, if you want to call it the house, the area in front of their own net. And so even when there is a shot, there isn't a second one. And this is a team that historically has not been able to do any of those kind of things. They're used to giving up 12 or 13 shots in a period, or 11 shots, or whatever the number is. 4 is unusual. 2 is really unusual. I think there was one period with 1. And so, yeah, they know they can shut the Sens down. And they know the Sens have trouble scoring 5-on-5. So what the Leafs have to do is stay out of the penalty box, not take the dumb penalties they took in some of the earlier games, stay out of the penalty box, and then take advantage of the fact that 5-on-5, you're a better team than the other guys are, no matter what the analytics were showing early in the season. The biggest analytic of all is how many goals do you score? And the Sens were what, second or third last in the NHL in even strength goals this year? That's not something that you look at slightly.
Well, I think even if you look around the NHL right now with the Stanley Cup playoffs, nothing seems to be coming easy for any series and any team right now. It's a pretty big battle, and pretty much every best of 7 that we're watching right now, despite what the records may show. Bruce, everyone in Ottawa has been waiting for that moment that we saw on Saturday for a while with the Jake Sanderson OT winner. The last OT goal on home ice, I believe, was that Kyle Turris winner against the Rangers 8 years ago. So now that we've seen the Sens team get their first taste of the playoffs, which player has impressed you the most?
I think Sanderson is certainly up there, Rob. I think the guy who has taken the biggest step is Tyler Clevin. The Senators basically went with 5 defensemen starting at the start of third period and into overtime. And Tyler Clevin played a very big role in helping to set up that OT winner. And he seems like a young guy who has come into his own. He's a big body, he's strong, he's going to cause some teams some problems. I think offensively, Jake Sanderson has turned a lot of heads, but I do think that Tyler Clevin is a guy who, at the end of the year, when the Leafs complete this series, Steve, are going to people are going to say, you know what, this guy made the biggest step from the start of the year into this postseason.
In watching the Senators team, I really wondered which of their forwards would stand out in the series. And the answer really is nobody.
No,
I,
Kachuk's hurt though, Steve. He's got to be hurt. Like yeah.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, and Kachuk's been okay, but Batherson and Stutzla and Pinto and all these young guys with speed and talent. Which one was going to become somebody, make a step up? So far, nobody. I think you can say that about a lot of the Leaf forwards as well. Other than I really like Matthew Knies' game. And I really like William Nylander's game in this series. But other than those two, the big boomers for the Leafs, the high priced help, Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner, they've scored two exceptional goals. Matthews sent in Marner on a breakaway, a beautiful pass. Marner had an all world assist to Matthews on his only goal. Those are great looking plays. But you watch Draisaitl and McDavid, doesn't have to be great looking. They just do it. They just go at it. They don't stop. And they're relentless. And when their team is tied or are in position to possibly win, that's when they're at their best. I've not seen that from enough of the Maple Leafs, in my opinion, or enough of the Senators either.
But I will say one thing, Steve. I would think going into Game 5, though, it's going to be a lot easier for the Leafs to lift their game. And I think I said to you the other day, I don't think the Senators have an answer for Matthew Knies. And I think in the end, that's going to be the difference in this series. Toronto has four better defensemen, and they certainly have four better forwards. And I think in that whole group, the one they don't have the answer for is Matthew Knies.
Yeah, and that goal he scored when he beat the guy with speed and made the great move.
Oh
You know,
my God,
a lot
Zub. He beat Zub.
a lot of guys can make moves skating with the puck. Not many can do it skating full speed with the puck. He slowed down just enough to make the move and score, and he's the real deal. This is just the beginning for him.
I know if I'm Zub, I'm taking that, like, look, put yourself in your own shoes. But if I'm Zub, take the penalty earlier. Just tackle the guy, like take him down
Yeah,
and
might not
take
have
your
been able
chance
to.
on the penalty kill, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. He took advantage of
because
that.
he was gonna. There was a delayed penalty there. You guys know that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Like he did eventually take the penalty, but by the time he took the penalty, Knies was by him and on the road to scoring the goal.
he took the penalty Saturday night too, and they probably should have scored on the power play and ended this thing. But
Yeah, but yeah.
that was a bit of a messy piece of business.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, doesn't seem like anything's going to come out of it. John Tavares set to play for game number 5. Same with Artem Zub. Lastly, we saw a crack in the armor for Anthony Stolarz in game 4 with a couple of leaky goals allowed, Steve. Well, as Bruce pointed out, Linus Ullmark definitely a big factor in helping Ottawa win that one. We'll start with you, Steve. How should both teams feel about their goaltending heading into game 5?
Well, I'll start with Ottawa. Travis Green was doing the early in the series. Oh, I'm behind my goalie 100%, which is how coaches lie when they have to lie. And early in the series, he wasn't very good. And now Elmark in game 4 was really good. And he's a good NHL goalie. He should come out of that game thinking, I found myself again and things will be fine. And from what I've seen of Anthony Stolarz, that was his first loss in 11 starts on Saturday night and lost it in overtime. So he hasn't lost in regulation time. You go back, I think, 13 games now. I don't worry about him at all. He's a really solid guy and a really solid goaltender. And this is the beginning for him, just like Matthew Knies. This is the beginning for him as in establishing his career at the age of 31.
Well, I think the win for Linus Ullmark was good, Robin. That if they get knocked out tomorrow night, or if they got knocked out that night, that would have been his 7th straight playoff loss. So he stopped his own 6-game personal losing streak, right? And at least has established himself that he can win in the playoffs again. I really feel like with Ullmark, it's kind of day to day. And the Senators did not play very well in front of him on Saturday night. And he was a huge difference in that game. Steve, I think they only ended up with 23 or 24 shots on Stolar Saturday night. They only at one point in the third period, they had one shot and it was a goal.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
you know,
that's what's happened in a couple of periods. In one period, they had 2 shots. One of them was a
yeah.
goal. And that's not Stolarz sleeping. I think those have just happened to be. At one time, it was a deflection. Another time, it was a Kachuk shot. They've just had some really good shots that have scored. And I think the overtime goal, frankly, I don't even think he saw it.
The bottom line is if we're back here on Wednesday to set up game 6, then all bets are off.
Yeah,
I think all
absolutely.
bets are off. All bets are off already, considering the history of the Maple Leafs. And
Uh,
go back to the Montreal
you've
series.
watched too much of it.
No, but the Montreal series in the bubble, 2020. The year is set up for the Leafs to win. It's set up. They're the best team in the Canadian division. It's set up for them to win. They play Montreal, who's like 100,000 points behind them in the standings. They're up 3-1. They lose games 5, 6, and 7. Austin Matthews in games 5, 6, and 7, 0 goals. Leafs, I think, had only 3 or 4 in those 3 games. Didn't play well in any of them. Didn't play with any kind of heart or desire. Until this team shows me they can do this when it matters. I'm from Missouri here.
You know what though? Different coach, different team.
Oh yeah,
To me, like
I
I don't
agree
watch the
completely.
Leafs as much as you, but to me they look a hell of a lot different.
Oh, and they are, but being different and having a different result when it matters, that we'll find out tomorrow night.
Yeah, the Leafs have a chance here to rewrite that narrative about their playoffs and see how it goes in game number 5. As always, leave your thoughts in the comment section below for Bruce Garrioch and Steve Simmons. I'm Rob Wong. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you after game number 5.